Switch over my Facebook. Okay. Are we out there?
I think so. It always takes a few minutes delay. Let's see. Is it showing we're out there?
I think so.
So we want to welcome everyone to Facebook Live tonight. And tonight we are going to be sharing more about writing your story, about this new Writers SIG that we have going on that we are very excited for. And we're getting a lot of questions on that. So we're hoping to answer some questions here. So we're just going to dive right in. I'm going to let Kay start it off.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us this evening. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. There we go. So yes, we're super excited about this Writers SIG. And for those of you who don't know, when we refer to Writers SIG, it's an acronym, SIG, and it stands for a Special Interest Group. And a SIG is defined as a community within a larger organization with a shared interest in advancing a specific area of knowledge, learning, or technology, where members cooperate to affect or to produce solutions within their particular field. So ours is focused on writing, and we are encouraging people to write their family history stories, get those stories on paper or digital, in a digital format, and either share them with us for our publications or share them with your family. This is just to try to make this a more enjoyable experience, that it's not, it shouldn't feel like a burden or a chore to get your stories preserved. So, I created a little word cloud with words about a writer's SIG, and interest was a main word. But then there are also knowledge, Hoosiers, because I focus on Indiana, technology, specific, shared. So just a few words there. It's a word cloud. And our IGS Publications Committee consists of me, Kay Ford, and John Marie, who's also on with me. She is our social media editor. And Brian Smith, he couldn't be here with us tonight, but he's also part of our committee and active on our Facebook page. And of course, our IGS president, Allison, and also Joy Neighbors, the Indiana genealogist editor, and Jennifer Alford, the IGS newsletter editor. So if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to email publications@indgenes.org. It will come to me, and I can direct it on to whomever you need to speak to, or if I can answer your question, I'm happy to do that. So the IGS Publications Committee, like I said, consists of those people and John Marie. And John Marie tonight is going to share some helpful information, I'm going to stop my share and I am going to make John Marie a host and she's going to share her screen.
All right, let me pull this up. Oh, button. I want to make sure I show you guys the right screen. Okay. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to talk about turning your Hoosier history into stories with the help of AI. I know one question we get people a lot ask is, look, we don't know how to even start. I'm not a good writer. But you know what? We have AI now, and we don't want AI to write your whole story, but we want at least for AI to assist you in writing that story. So let me share a little bit with you. So, how AI can assist in writing? It can help you with brainstorming. So, it can generate ideas and titles based on your ancestors' life events. Then it can also do outlining, which is creating a structure outline for your articles. And I'll admit, this is my favorite thing to have it do. And I'll show you a sample here shortly. And then also drafting. So you can take a timeline that maybe you have created on a document and you can actually upload it into ChatGPT and ask it to convert those bullet points and that timeline into paragraphs about your ancestor's story. Now, I do recommend going back and checking, make sure sometimes it gets it out of place. But as genealogists, we know you can't just rely 100% on something. And then finally, there's editing. So it can help you refine or polish your draft for clarity and engagement. So, say you want to make your article a little more fun, out of the ordinary, and your sense of humor is just not where you can convey it on the paper. And so ChatGPT is great for that. Or it could change up your words if you want something to be more professional. So let's kick off here. Okay, so creating a story outline. So this is the prompt that I gave. So I did my homework while I did this. So I typed into ChatGPT, provide 5 story ideas about my third great grandfather, Jasper Killian, a farmer from Clay County, Indiana, who was drafted into the final years of the Civil War and spent most of his service time in Andersonville. What it did is you can see here the output. It gave me a bunch of ideas that I could go with. And so you can take this and even go further and explore more if you want to be more creative. But this kickstarts your ideas of what you might want to write about. And to me, this is valuable because it does help me a little bit put the story and try to fine tune where I'm headed with the story. And so for me, I selected number 4, The Farmer's Fight, Jasper Killian's Unexpected War, since he was drafted and he was a farmer prior to the Civil War. So, and we will give you guys more examples of prompts, but that just shows you how you can take an idea that you don't have a lot of information on and you're not sure where you're going, and it can guide you in that direction. Then I took it a step further and I said, create an outline for a 200-word article on Jasper Killian, farmer from Clay County, Indiana, who was drafted in the final years of the Civil War and spent most of his service time at Andersonville Prison. So as you can see, I just took that prompt and I changed it a little bit because I wanted an outline. And so it actually will go and break it down for you. And you can see here where it has an introduction, should be 1 to 2 sentences. And then it tells you what you want to think about. A brief introduction on Jasper Killian, his background as a Clay County farmer, and then mention his unexpected draft into the Civil War. And I went through all of these, which I'll show you in a moment. And I actually went over the 200 because I got a little excited with some of the ideas it gave me, but it really broke it down. And I was able to take this and get my 200 words without like stressing over every single word and just reading those prompts like summarize the conditions at Andersonville Prison. I was able to quickly start writing because it gave me that idea where it may have taken me longer to try to format how I wanted to create that article. And so this is really fun to do. And like I said, I enjoy using this because it gives me more guided directions. It's not writing for you. So I will share a sample. I'm not going to read you guys the whole thing. If you want to read the whole thing, you guys can see it in our Facebook group. But so I just took for even the first introduction. My third great grandfather, William Jasper Killian, was born in Clay County, Indiana, and spent nearly his entire life there, except for the time he served in the Civil War. On September 21st, 1864, Jasper was drafted into the Union Army, leaving behind his wife and 3 children to manage the farm in his absence. As someone who has experienced the pain of being left behind while my late husband served in the Army, I could feel the deep connection to what Jasper's wife must have endured. And then it goes on. But as you can see, I was able to take those 2 little things in the beginning. I'll go back here. In the introduction, it was 1 to 2 sentences. And I took those 2 and I read them and then I just started writing. And I mean, it's your writing because some people are worried, well, someone might not think it's my writing. It is your writing because you're taking those and then you're creating the story. And I almost doubled my words on what I wrote. But it really helps you. And like, this is not polished at all. This has a long way to go. But our goal is to get you guys to start writing. And this is a start. There's so much more to be added to this story. So creating your own prompts. So I'm going to give you guys a couple tips to be effective on creating your prompts. So the first thing is to be specific about the information you're providing. So in the one I said 200 words. If you were wanted to do a full article at 1,000 words, that's what you would put in there, and it's going to give you a more breakdown for an article that is that size. But you do have to be specific, just as you have to be specific of, can you help me with a draft or an outline? Anything like that, you need to be specific about and act as if you're talking to somebody. The other is to specify the desire of the length and the tone, which I've just talked about. So you want to let it know, because if you just put in anything, who knows what you're going to get? And when we're writing the story and we're starting out, we have a goal in mind. And that's why we picked 200 words for you guys' first homework for the writing SIG, because it's a start. And you saw how my start ended up to almost 400 words. And the tone, I did not put a tone in there. I've just kind of gone with it. Maybe later on, after I've written it, I might put some of it in there and say, can you make this tone a little more, I don't know, professional or can't think of the word of it, scholarly. That's the word I was thinking of. And then you need to indicate the type of output you're seeking, such as, are you wanting an outline? Are you wanting a story, or are you wanting a list? And so if you ask for a list, just know that it'll be similar to an outline, but with the outline, it's going to actually give you more details. I've played with both, and I prefer the outline more than the list, but some people like the list more. So you kind of have to play around with it and see what works for you. And then I am going to show you in just a moment, but I have a list of prompts that we created on the Writer SIG's Facebook group. We'll also post it when we post this on YouTube. But this is to kind of give you prompts that you could plug in and use to try to create your ancestor stories. So just go ahead and try to play with it. Okay, now let me try switching screens to see if this works. Facebook. Okay, hold on. I got to stop it and then I guess restart it. Okay. Okay. So here is our Facebook page. So the page is different than the group. And I want to show you guys how to get to the group if you haven't joined already. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to more. You're just going to scroll down here to groups, click it, and ours should come up right at the top of your page. You're going to click on that, and then you're in the group. And as you can see, you know, all the rules that we have. Let me see. Then we go to discussion. Oh, hold on. Let me go to my because that one hasn't joined. Okay, here we go. So this is what you guys are going to come up with once you've joined the group. And you can see we'll have the events here for the monthly meetings. But what I wanted to show you is this right here, files. Now, when you click files and you go here to IGS Writing SIG prompts, just click on that. It'll bring it up and you'll be able to print it. Then another thing I wanted to show you, if you want to send in your homework early, like I did since I got it done, you can actually upload it to the page. I'm still new figuring this page out. It is not posted yet. Okay, but it is over in files. So I'm just going to click here. So this is where you can post and then attach your article for others to see. And I would recommend doing it in a PDF, just kind of because it kind of protects you a little bit more. And let me show you the way you're going to do that is you're going to right here, click on the three dots, and down here it says file. You'll click on that, and that is where you can attach your story for everyone to see. And we can give each other feedback and stuff like that. Just remember, be nice. We're all, you know, most of us are beginners and we're all here to support each other. And Brian is the one that pretty much manages this page. So he checks it several times. And if you join, he'll be probably the one that will admit you in. And I think that is everything on my end, unless you can think of anything, Kay, before you go on.
Oh, that was great. A great overview.
I'm going to stop you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
So if anyone has any questions, just email us about that or reach out via Facebook and we can try to help you. You have to join the group first and be accepted in. It's private. And then when you're ready to share something or add a file, just go in like you're going to post. And you can add some text in your post and attach your file and upload it. But yes, PDF's probably the best way.
Yeah, just to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, someone doesn't want to
yeah.
change it by accident or, you know.
Right.
And we ask people not to share anyone's story with anybody else. It's just for our group.
Mm-hmm. So yes, that is awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh, I have to make myself the host again. Oh, let's see. I guess I was right here. Okay. So, we're going to add these files to the Writers SIG group on Facebook. Because for the first couple of meetings, I've been sharing these information about submissions to IGS Publications and our disclaimer, and this is always found in the Indiana Genealogist, the journal. And also the guidelines if you want to submit to the journal. The maximum length of an article should be 3,000 words and under, and at least 500 words. And you could submit photos, maps, and illustrations with your article. When you do submit to the IG, the journal, Joy would like it in Microsoft Word, because I believe she copies and pastes it into the platform for the journal, and there's no formatting no extra formatting like HTML formatting that comes along with it. But if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to answer any questions. And here's a few more guidelines, and some guidelines about book reviews. If you happen upon a new book about genealogy, feel free to review it and send us the review. Share it with everyone. And IGS does have a genealogy writing award. So right now, the submissions turned in during 2025 are eligible to win this award next year at the 2026 annual conference. They do have to be at least 1,000 words. It can be a member or a non-member. And we award one for submission to the journal and one for submission to the newsletter. And next year, there will be a monetary prize with each award. So that's kind of a neat motivator, I guess. And we have our publication statement, which has to do with copyright. And we will put all these documents as files on the Facebook group site, so you can refer back to them. They're also in the journal every 3 months. So as part of the Writers SIG, I like to touch on the GPS. There are 5 components, and next Tuesday we'll be talking about reasonably exhaustive research. What is reasonably exhaustive research? And this comes from the Board for Certification of Genealogists. If you want to read more. And just a real quick example of reasonably exhaustive research is checking a city directory for your ancestor. And say it's alphabetical, you flip through and you find your ancestor, and you take a picture, scan, or a copy of the page, and you note all the pertinent information, the title page, the publication information, and then you move on to the next source. But did you examine that book completely, all the way through, everything that directory had to offer? One thing I have found in city directories is the reverse lookup, which is kind of like what we have nowadays. You can reverse look up a phone number. Back in their day, you could look in these directories by address. So if you knew what street and house number your ancestor lived on, you could look them up to see who lived next door to them, which I always thought that was kind of fascinating. But along with the reverse lookup, there is also information about the churches in the city, where the fireboxes were located, uh, the rural routes located outside city limits. I mean, there's so much information in these city directories that it's worth your time to page through and check out the other sections. And that's just my quick little snippet about using city directories to their full extent. So, I'll look and see. I don't know if we have any questions out there.
We have a question from Robert asking if might someone supply a list of potential publication venues, journals, quarterlies, etc., where the genealogical writing could be published. And we have several just here with IGS, with the Indiana Genealogical Society. We've got the newsletter, we've got the genealogist, the Indiana genealogist.
We have
So
those two. Yeah.
yeah, we have those too. So we're always looking for publications. And if you're looking for other places, Cindy's, no, not Cindy's. Well, Cindy's list might have it, but Conference Keeper does have a list of places that are looking for publications.
So yeah, those are two good places. Conference Keeper and Cindy's List.
Yep.
And that's CYNDI''S.
Yep.
Cindy Engel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there are several just around Indiana. I know Illinois and Ohio have publications. I'm pretty
You
sure
can almost
Kentucky
reach out
does.
to any historical genealogical society that you're a part of. And I'm sure they have a newsletter. And we know from experience, societies are always looking for articles.
This is true. This is true.
We have Joy begging us all the time for articles.
And we had our first Writers SIG meeting last month. And from that meeting, we have generated some new submissions. And we're just super excited about that. These stories are being preserved and shared. And that's the whole purpose of this group.
And we did our last meeting that we just had, we did go over upcoming themes for the journal. And so just to give you guys a couple ideas of what to think of about writing for our December issue, we don't only focus on the themes, but it's just to kind of help you guys to create content so we can put the journals together. So December is American 250 or early pioneers. And those articles are due by mid-October, right? I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the March issue of 2026 is going to be Women's History in Indiana. So we'd like to highlight Hoosiers' women's contributions, suffrage, women pioneer stories passed through the maternal line. So, and we'll post all this stuff on the Facebook group. And then for June of 2026, the issue is going to be Juneteenth and Indiana's African American history. And so we would like this edition to focus on Black Hoosier communities, freedmen settlements, church records, underground railroads, stuff like that. And then September will be a fun one. It's going to be family mysteries. So we want to collect bricked walls, people to share their breakthroughs, how they did it, because this isn't just about sharing your ancestor stories too. We want to get some methodology articles in there as well to help people discover their family history. And then the final one for December of 2026 is going to be Indiana genealogy in 2027. And that's looking ahead. So we're going to look for articles to spotlight new projects, preservation efforts, and the future of genealogy. So, I mean, that's what, 4, 5 different topics right there that can get you guys thinking about what you might want to
Mhm.
write about.
Yep. And if you have something else in mind, write it down, send
Mhm.
it in. Um, the entire um issue doesn't have to be about America 250 or the semi quincentennial of
Yeah.
the United States. Um, it- you know, it could be one article and the rest just about who's your history,
And
who's your
it'd be
ancestors. Yeah.
something that you just discovered,
Hmm.
you
Yep.
know.
Yeah.
So
Especially,
we don't
yeah.
want to block you guys into like this is what you have to write.
Mhm. It's just I guess a helper.
Yeah, we just want to be there for each other, help each other, improve our writing skills, and support each other, and get our ancestor stories preserved and preserving them in the journals the best way. Because how many of us have looked at old journals and discovered an article about our ancestor?
Mhm. And
So,
the great thing about our journal and the newsletter both, um, every time they are published, a copy is saved at Allen County Public Library forever, or as closest to forever as we'll get, but they're up there in Fort Wayne.
and if you guys have any questions at all, even after this, you can post it. This is going to be here on Facebook. I think they keep it for 30 days now. And then you can post it in our Facebook group. Brian, like I said, is really great about being on top of, what's going on in there. And then we'll also have this posted on YouTube. So
Mhm.
you can
And
post
yeah,
questions there
YouTube's great because you can pause the recording if
and
you
make
want to read.
notes.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, and
because
everything.
I scooted through the guidelines and those documents because you can always pause it and read it.
So Barb just put a question in here. Good one. Indiana doesn't date back 250 years, which is correct.
Mhm.
So what is the thought to tie that into Indiana?
That would be the Indiana Territory, the Northwest Territory.
And so, I mean, we probably have some people that have explored the Indiana
Mhm.
territories. It doesn't have to be, 250 years, but what we're doing is we're celebrating the past 250 years.
Mhm.
So it's everything leading from when we started, the first
Mhm.
settlers, which actually were the Native American Indians. It starts way back then. So it's not saying it has to be 250 years ago. It's leading up to the 250
Mhm.
years.
Maybe
Hopefully
a
that makes
revolution.
sense.
Yeah, like a in our county we have 33 Revolutionary War soldiers buried here, and of course they weren't born here; they
Right.
moved here, but um, we recognize them quite frequently. And I know a lady who is studying this area in my county where she grew up as a child, and she got so involved in her studies. She has taken it all the way back to prehistoric time. The what the geology was like. I mean, this is before the Native Americans. And then she has a whole section on that. And then the pioneers. And I mean, she took it way back.
Yeah. So this is
So,
just to get you guys thinking,
mhm,
get you started on something that can trigger something. I've even taken it where I've taken my entire JED file
Mm-hmm.
I've uploaded it into ChatGPT, and I've asked it to pick out like my Indiana ancestors. And normally I do
Oh.
this when I go to do research, so it pulls all the information I need and then it makes me a research chart.
Mm-hmm.
But so there's so much you can do to try to figure out how you could fit into different topics, like I'm thinking for the, 250th, the American Revolution, you could have ChatGPT look through your tree and pull things that might have something that you weren't thinking about. And then
Mm-hmm.
also I shared with Kay this past weekend, I am actually working on an article about my SAM worker line that was in Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I had actually taken my timeline, uploaded it to ChatGPT, and I asked it, look at the timeline and tell me what events or historical moments in that time period I might want to dive into more. And I was shocked because it does hallucinate. So it might not give you everything that's correct, but we're genealogists. We know we need to go verify. And so I checked, and there was a great flood in Grand Rapids, Michigan during the time that my ancestors were there. And I confirmed that that did happen. And then I've been diving through newspapers now, but it's helped me to add to my ancestors' story because I didn't consider that that event happened in Grand Rapids. I mean, I didn't even know about it until it was pointed out to me.
So that's a really neat find.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, so do you use ChatGPT most of the time?
I'm a big ChatGPT user.
Mm-hmm.
I think because it has gotten to know me
Uh-huh.
well. I've used Claude, and actually, for people that are really into writing, I recommend Claude. I have the paid version on Chat, but I did do it on Claude for a little while. But
Mm-hmm.
I like to do my writing myself because I
Right.
normally just want the outline.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just use the free version of Claude when I want to. But Claude is great for writing. And then there's also Copilot. There's a bunch of different ones
Mm-hmm.
out there now. So it's a personal preference on what you feel comfortable with. And also, a side note, if it gives you an hallucination or wrong information, I go back and I tell it it was wrong. And it kind of is like, okay, thanks. I'll make a note of that. So I feel like I don't know if it's me, but I feel like it's really like checking more information now. And it is actually giving you, you can ask it to give you information on where they pulled that information from.
Oh,
So, I mean, it's
so
getting more
yeah,
advanced every day.
that's cool. Kind of like asking it to give it sources.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these AI models have the free version. So I think I've used Gemini before,
See, I've never used
and
Gemini. I've used Jasper as well.
oh, I didn't even know there was a Jasper. My golly.
Jasper was
Uh,
actually around before ChatGPT, honestly. Yeah.
wow.
So,
So
yeah.
yeah, that's, kind of play around on those free versions
I mean, it's
before
just like having
investing.
like a part, you're sitting there at a
Hmm.
round table talking with friends.
Yeah.
That's what you need to use the AI as because it's perfect for that. Our friends
Mhm.
aren't right. My Aunt Dolores, I can tell, wasn't right on everything.
Mhm.
Hopefully she never watches this, but so it's just like talking to your family or friends, they're not going to be right every time, and you can't expect it to be because there's so much information it's pulling. But
Right.
eventually, the more you use a platform, the more it gets to know you,
Hmm.
and the more it'll see what kind of stuff you like, what kind of stuff you don't want,
Hmm.
you know.
Okay. So yeah, so it's just a tool
Yep.
to be used.
It's
I
a
like
friend.
I
I'm
like
supposed to name mine. I didn't name it yet. I'm
Oh,
going to
I was
ask it to name
wondering.
itself. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to. I got to think of a good name for him, or he needs to let me know what his name is. I'll get around to it.
I like the idea of asking it to give you an outline. That's one of my hardest parts because I'll just I'll just do like a brain dump onto a page.
Well, see, and I
And
do the brain dump too, and I've done the brain dump of what I'm thinking about and the facts I have.
hmm
And then I'll tell it to sort it out. And I do just give it one task at a time
uh-huh.
because I have learned if you give it too many tasks, it's gonna start messing things up. So I'll brain dump, tell it to create a timeline with this, and then I'll tell it to create an outline.
Cool.
Because I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I gotta have that timeline because my dyslexia and my brain just if it's just a blank paper, it's gonna take me a whole lot
hmm
longer than having that outline.
I know. I like to see visualize,
Mhm.
how things happened
Yeah.
as best I can. Oh, let's see. Oh, do you see any more questions?
See, I do not. Let me make sure we
Mm,
didn't miss any. And I did mention because someone had asked if they have to join IGS before joining the Facebook group, and I told them you don't.
right.
But if your stuff gets published,
Mm,
you won't get that newsletter or the journal unless you're a member.
right.
So that's a perk of being a member.
Mhm.
But yeah, so anyone can go ahead and join now.
Another membership perk is access to the archives of the Indiana genealogists and the newsletter going back, I believe, to 2008 on the website. So um, there there is no index right now, but I'm wondering if that's something that our trusty AI friends could
Might be able
whip
to
up.
help us with.
Maybe they can whip that up for us.
Yeah,
If,
that would be great. I mean, AI is doing so much stuff now, so I
that would
mean,
be
we might as well
helpful.
use it and save time because I
Yeah,
know I'd rather have more time to research and discover the story and
right.
travel.
Exactly. Let's see, I'm going to advance this slide. It's been sitting here for a while. Um, and it's just a note that we are meeting as our special interest group next Tuesday at 6:30, and we'll be on Zoom. We we won't be on Facebook Live. We'll just be our own little group.
So check your email for the link,
hmm I'll
which is
send
not
that.
out
Yep,
yet.
right. I will send that out the day before. And um, so this was just kind of an overview to share with people who were on the fence, maybe, to share some information. And we hope that you'll want to come meet with us next Tuesday night. We'll try to keep it to an hour. And um, and if you don't have anything written, uh, don't feel pressured.
We won't grade you. It's kind of the 200 word homework is just to get you writing. And then if you do not have to share it, if you don't
Right.
want to, but like I shared mine to the Facebook group and said I was open to criticism, whatever, just to be nice though. So if you want to put your homework on there, or if you feel like you have some questions, and we'll be able to maybe cover a few of them, depending how many people we have, you know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
Yeah, we just, try to keep our peer feedback constructive,
mhm.
positive, and helpful, um, to so that everyone becomes a better writer, or at least just puts their story on paper. Some of the
Oh,
best
and I
ones,
did I did want to say I did look because so if you post it, the PDF to the Facebook group, it might have to be approved. I need to look at that. But like I said, Brian is amazing at making sure, people get into the group and stuff like that. So if you don't see it right away, don't panic.
Mhm.
So, and then
Yeah.
just make sure, if you go into the group, go ahead and check everyone else's writing too. That's the reason they put it there,
Mhm.
and that's why we have the group.
Yep, exactly. Um, I work at a museum and sometimes we get artifacts donated and they have a little handwritten note with the history. And I mean, even that is perfect. That tells me something about this item and how it's related to my county. And so even if that's what you do is put it down on a little slip of paper, good for you. Someone in the future will appreciate that.
And if you need to, just pick an event to start writing about. If you're not
Mhm,
ready to start putting your ancestors' story down, pick an event that happened in Indiana,
mhm,
whether it's the Underground Railroad or, like when we do Women's History Month, stories of women from Indiana,
mhm.
anything.
Yep, yep. Oh my gosh, so many stories. So many
Oh,
stories
yeah.
out there.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I'm gonna knock that off there.
Great.
Okay,
Not see any more questions.
awesome. Well, if
Yeah.
you're interested, just reach out publications at indiegenes.org
Yeah.
and I'll add you to the list. And um, let's see, I think we recorded it last time, didn't we? I think we did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did.
we did. Yep. So we'll record next Tuesday and then,
We'll find a space on the
mhm,
YouTube.
yeah, I think I put it on YouTube. So yeah,
Okay.
there should be and I think it's public. I can't remember. Sorry, I'll have to check. Oh golly. I just remember sending out the information that it was that the recording was done. Oh goodness.
And I'll share a link to the YouTube channel on the Facebook group, or Brian. I think I saw he's on here in the comments. So we'll
Okay,
make
cool.
sure a link gets to the YouTube channel so that you guys can find these.
Awesome. Great.
All right.
Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with us this evening and hope to see you next week or next month's Facebook Live, which he'll be here.
Yep, we'll
Yep.
be talking to the Grave Geeks, the founders of Grave Geeks, and so they'll be telling you about the nonprofit that they've started for headstone cleaning and preserving cemeteries and stuff. So I'm excited for
Awesome.
that.
Another
It's
noble
great.
cause.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome.
All
Okay.
right,
Well,
guys.
I am going to shut us down. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.